Hello and welcome to the Karnage eSports TV channel. My name is the vocal terrorist Jesse Rain, and you are watching the VocTerGaming Karnage Specials episode number 10. Today I bring you a replay between these two players. First up is the Zerg player, a member of Team Karnage. His name is Pad, and today he will be facing off against the Protoss player Addict. So, I apologise that it's been so long since I even uploaded a video, even to Karnage eSports. I've been so busy working right now for SCV Rush and doing stuff in my own stream and working with a guy called Bell Noir for Bell Noir TV. I just haven't had the time to do anything like this. Luckily for you guys, I now have a week free from work and free from SCV Rush, and in fact free from any live tournaments, so I have the time to put up at least a couple of replays. We've got this coming, we've got a Lemony Tang game coming, and over on my own YouTube channel we're going to do a little fun with some PvPs. So, it will be interesting for me to see, first off, how well my solo casting has stood up to the test of time, since it's been so long since I've done anything like it, and how well Pad plays against this Protoss. I've seen an awful lot of Zerg versus Protoss lately, but nothing quite at the level I expect out of Team Karnage's Pad, and while I know virtually nothing about Addict, it is definitely interesting to see what they will choose. Spawning pool first, out of Pad, rather than the greedy hatch first build. Keeps you safe from any kind of cannon rushing that goes along with the Forge Fast Expand. That pylon there, I'm expecting a Forge Fast Expand out of Addict, but just making probes at the moment, so a little bit late. It is 8:17 now. Generally you start to build on 15. Here comes the probe though, so just a little bit delayed from Addict. That's why, because he's going to go greedy and build the Nexus first. Look at you greedy boy. If you can get away with it, of course, it is always better to do that, but a lot of people struggle to get away with it, and now down comes the Forge. Now, especially after seeing the pool first, I'm surprised we saw a Nexus first from Addict. It looks like he's going to get away with it, because Pad is just expanding and only producing drones rather than Zerglings, but even so, that is just a little bit risky. Because the last thing you want as a Protoss player is for this mineral line to be completely infested with Zerglings. You just do not want to lose probes. It forces you to build a pylon at the back of the mineral line, stick a cannon in here, and oh god, it is just the worst thing ever. As it is though, this looks like it's going to be completely safe, so nice economic openings from both players. Pad actually slightly behind because he chose to go pool first, whereas Addict chose to go Nexus first. We will now be seeing shortly what kind of build Addict wants to do out of the back of this. There are many ways to go. You can of course get the +1 attack and do a heavy 7-gate timing attack. He's getting both gases, so nothing ridiculously tricksy. Pad doing the right moves, adding a third base, because you may as well. There's just no way after a Forge must expand. The Protoss player is going to attack anytime soon. Not enough to deny you that. Here comes a probe. It of course scouts it because Addict knows the timings. But this is nice play from Pad. And now it's interesting to me what we'll see. So far, no gas coming out for Pad, going straight up to that 3 base by the 5-minute mark. Perfectly normal. I expect it's possible we'll see him add at least 1 gas, get a Roach Warren, and then maybe add a macro hatch. We could be seeing something along the lines of the Stefano 12-minute Roach Max all-in. Oh my god, I've seen so many of those this past week. I really do not need to see another one. So we now have 3 gases, the 3rd gas on the way for Addict, and still no gas coming out of Pad whatsoever, just droning up heavily, giving us a unit count of 31 drones to 30 probes. So he has caught up despite being a little bit behind, and of course once this hatchery finishes he'll be able to add an extra 3rd to his drone production. So should be feeling pretty good economy wise. The question is, will he be able to stave off Addict's push that will definitely be coming, because we are up to 4 gates now. It would not surprise me to see a few more, or of course a Robo. 4-gate Robo used against Colossus, generally very good. Can be handy against the Roach All-in. Of course you need the Immortals from that, and you need a ton of sentries. Still no +1 on the way, neither attack nor armor. So Pad now with that 3 base economy. The question is, which way will he go from this? Already transitioning drones. He looks about saturated on here. yeah, not far off the right level of saturation there at all. That's very nice to see from him. Knows exactly what he's doing in that regard, and I expect nothing less of any Team Karnage player. And wow, that is a ton of drones. Oh my word. Going straight up to lair. Now this is super greedy. Right now, his defensive units are 2 Zerglings and 3 Queens. But he's up to 52 drones. Oh, look at that. And a macro hatch going down. He feels safe. But there are Stalkers coming in. He is going to have to defend well. Rotor and Evo Chamber going down. He just needs to defend this push. These 4 Stalkers could do a ton of damage because there aren't any units ready. There were just 2 Zerglings. 16 Zerglings on the way. So some of these drones are going to die. But now the drones come back. Oh, not wise to do that, maybe. Trying to keep these Zerglings alive, though, and using the drones to harass as well. Here come more Zerglings. That Rotron was not finished in time, but he will trap these. And once they're trapped, that is it. It is game over for Addict. These Stalkers will not be doing a lot more damage. They do kill the Queen, though, which is nice. Just a little bit of a setback for Pad. And really, he just needed a few more units to be ready. He was being incredibly greedy with his economy. Now he's getting roaches up, he should start to feel safe. So, as predicted, +1 attack is first. We have a Robo. Ooh, Observer coming out from that. Then I imagine we'll see a couple of Immortals, followed by the Robotic Support Bay, which will add Colossus. And here come the 3 more gates. So, this is right now appearing to be exactly the same as every ZVP I have watched this week, and that is about 18 ZVPs, 20 ZVPs, where the Zerg player just wants to go for that quick roach max. Will we see nothing but roaches? It does look that way. He's a little bit behind on supply at this point. You're only about 100 at this point, but that's okay. He was, of course, he did lose a few drones, so that's about what you'd expect. Now a third is going up for Addict, which is again normal time. Lots of cannons going down, lots of sentries coming out. Will he get Immortals after this Observer? That's the real question. Oh, and look at this from Pad. Pad playing extraordinarily well, sees all that. Doesn't know... Oh, he sees a gateway there. I imagine he'll know that this is 7 gate. That's what you put to see. Especially now that there are Immortals on the way. And here come the first wave of roaches. They're going to hit a little bit early because he's seen that third. But there's 3 cannons and 4 sentries here. So perhaps not the best time to attack. And there we go. He sees those cannons. He sees the sentry. And look at that. Just pulls back. Pad with some great game sense. Wow. The Robotic Support Bay going down already after only just 1 Immortal. Possibly he'll get a 2nd Immortal just to help deal with these roaches. I really want to see that. Anyway, I just want to pop over to this base as well because, of course, we have coming out of Pad Infestation Pit and Aspire. So Pad just getting all the tech. Pad is playing supremely greedy in this, and I like that he backed out of the heavy roach production. He could have carried on to max, but I honestly think he was in a bad position with the Wall of Cannon with so many sentries up. It would have been very, very hard for him to do any significant damage. +1 attack was already finished. That's generally finished way before the roaches get there. And Pad taking another base. So again, the Euro-Zerg style of just taking bases and not making units as much as possible. Hive going up at 12 minutes. Oh my word, Pad, you are incredibly greedy. So a 12-minute Hive going up now. Looks like he just wants to transition straight to the late game here. And I don't blame him because late game Zerg is very strong. And right now his mid game is nothing but roaches. And there is 1 Immortal and a ton of sentries out in the field. Okay, here come the Stalkers to defend. That makes a bit more sense. Very worried for Addict there that he was just going to lose a ton of sentries. And he's going to try and pick off this base. Oh! Pylon is killed rather than cancelled. And Pad retreats from there. He will have to sack this base. May just go ahead and cancel it. It really does depend on what Addict chooses to do. Here we go. Guardian Shield goes up. Going to try and snipe the 3rd base, ignoring the 4th base that could be cancelled. And now Addict in a strong position. 1 roach coming along. Couple of speedlings are going to kill some sentries, which is always nice. So gas heavy. Now here come the roaches. Force fields on the ramp go down. Very, very nice. But he leaves a gap. Leaving a gap is not what you want to do. It's finally force field off, but that's extra force field energy. That Immortal is doing a ton of damage at the moment. So now Pad stuck with these roaches being observed there. And Addict just doing a ton of damage at this base. Pad needs to hold this base. He's got the 4th up. He needs to hold this 3rd. Now it looks like he'll do it if he can kill that Immortal. There we go. Immortal goes down and Addict has to leave. That Immortal was the damage dealer of the group. The Sentry's there to keep him alive and the Stalker's there to just add to the damage. But in the end, once you lose that Immortal, you have to leave. And that's the problem with only building one Immortal before you transition towards Colossus. And he hasn't even gotten any Colossus at this point. He has a ton of money. Not so much gas though. And right now is almost entirely focused on trying to get these Stalkers back to his base alive. Except the Thermal Lance on the way. Colossus is on the way. If we look at the unit counting station, we see there are more probes than drones. That's pretty bad from Pad, but it's to be expected. He was using all of his lava right then to create units to just hold that off, and he is near max now to 120 supply, but it is entirely in roaches, couple of speedlings, and now 7 infestors on the way, Greater Spires on the way. So this attack is not intended to kill. This attack is intended to see what Addict's composition is, to see if he's getting more Immortals or Colossus, and to just try and hold him in the base while Pad gets up that late game. Now unfortunately for Pad, that Observer is still following this Roach army around. So frustrating. It means Addict knows exactly the composition of his army and exactly when he's going to attack. He's going to have to sack some of these Roaches fairly soon after that Greater Spire is finished, but you have to be careful. You don't want to lose too many, or the Protoss can just steamroll through your army before you can make those Broodlords. They do take a long time to make because you've got to make Corruptors first. Now we do have 7 Infestors out, which is very, very nice. And another Observer floating about. Addict keeping up good vision of the map right now. Trying to drop a 4th base himself, but that is not going to happen because there are a ton of Roaches out on this map. Oh, and it doesn't even get cancelled. In fact, none of these buildings get cancelled. That's really bad. Addict losing so much money trying to save the base, but as it is, he does chase him out, but far too late. Pylons on the high ground just to get vision, and of course to help warping units should he attack from up there. We have another base going down for Pad. Pad almost completely finished taking his half of the map, and look at this now, he's pulled the army out of position. He wants to go in to the natural, but oh, Addict is going to catch him from behind. And now Pad is trapped. He just has to do damage. He's going to kill this Twilight Cancel. Built in a really weird place. I can't imagine what that was about. But that goes down. The Forge goes down, so no more upgrades. Addict right now going to be stuck on just +1 attack. Pad with +1 defense makes him pretty even. Oh, even unpowers the Cybercore. So no more for you. Stargate having gone up. That's just strange. And look at that unpowering. Oh my word. What an Artosis pylon there. Terrible, terrible move from Addict. He can now produce nothing out of these buildings. He had the Colossus almost finished, which would have helped so much. He'd actually force-fielded the ramp, which forced him to stay down in the natural while that occurred, and now probes go down. So this attack for Pad has been brilliant, and he's getting rid of all the Roaches he wanted to get rid of, and he's transitioning straight into Broodlords. He's getting his +1 flyer attacks, +2 melee attacks. Pad playing absolutely sick at the moment, doing so much to delay what Addict wanted to do. I don't get this Stargate at all. That's a very strange transition at this point in the game. If you're going to go crazy Sky Protoss, you really need like 1 billion Stargates, and you need carriers, and you need Void Rays, and you need everything. It just doesn't work this late in the game against Broodlords, and here come the Broodlords now. And it looks to me like Pad is just going to push out. He needs some Speedlings for this. He is making them, so they should arrive very, very shortly. He has enough Corruptors to deal with the Colossus, and then of course he can just morph them to Broodlords if he so wishes. We have a fleet beacon on the way. Oh, okay. He wants that mothership. That makes a lot more sense to me now. I did forget about that. Well, I don't know how I forgot about the mothership, because it's the way you win as Protoss versus Zerg late game with the Vortex, with Archons. See, again though, because he placed that Twilight Cancel in such a strange, indefensible location, he lost it. He has to rebuild it, so those Archons are ages away yet, and the mothership is no use without them, because there are so many Overseers with this army. The Cloak's not going to matter. The Vortex will be great, but only if you can throw Archons in it. Otherwise, nothing matters. And here come a ton of Speedlings. Look at this, doing the damage again in Addict's base. Oh my word, Addict just not walling off again, and Pad taking full advantage of that. And now the Broodlord army comes in to the 4th, doing a ton of damage here. We have Speedlings up in the main. The Colossus finally going to roast them. Speedlings in the natural though, still doing damage until the Colossi come back, but now the Colossi are out of position, and we have Broodlords attacking. The Colossi, of course, no use against Broodlords, only good against these current Infestors. Now he does lose one Infestor, but he is getting Fungals off. Pad playing this extremely well, morphing more Broodlords now that he isn't seeing Colossus. Needs to be careful not to morph too many. Although right now he's pretty safe because there is not much in the way of anti-Broodlords. Just these Stalkers without Blink, I might add. So it's impossible to blink underneath the army at this point. And he's going to roast some Infestors, but could then lose all of these Colossus if he's not careful. Fungal's going down on them. Some Infestors still alive. The Broodlord's doing a ton of damage, morphing even more in. This looks like the beginning of the end. And there's the GG from Addict. Pad takes the game very, very handily. Pad playing greedily in the early game, but holding off any pressure and using that advantage to just storm in the late game. Very, very strong game there from Pad. Anyway, that's me done. I've been your host, the vocal terrorist Jesse Rain. Thank you for supporting Team Karnage and watching the Karnage eSports TV channel. I will see you all again next time.